Hello friends, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today we are going to be talking about how best to prepare your First Order team to get as far as you possibly can in the next BB-8 or the next Legendary event, which is Pieces and Plans, the BB-8 Legendary event. It will start on September 28th. This will be the first time that we see it go live. It will repeat as often as the other legendary events repeat. It will be a 7-tier event, which means we will be able to unlock BB-8 at 7-star, and that's going to be a pretty tough feat in the final event. Now, since this is the first time that we have seen this event play out, I'm really only looking at what we know from the event, what information they've given us, and what information we've seen from the other legendary events. And with that, let's go ahead and talk about what the event will look like. Now, looking back at the other legendary events we've seen in the past, specifically the Thrawn legendary event, these run around 7 days, so you'll have a week to complete the event from the moment that it level the first tier, and then all the way to tier 7. You'll have to be, I believe, 80 and above, and you will have to have 7-star characters to complete that final tier. But with that final tier, we will be able to unlock BB-8 with 7 stars. Now, if I remember correctly, the awards or rewards that come with the events like this do give you quite a bit of, or give you enough to actually unlock that character fully 7-starred. So if you defeat all 7 tiers, you will get all or enough to completely unlock him and completely upgrade him to the 7-star. Now, luckily or gratefully, EA gave us the credit heist recently, but that's, you know, if you used it like I did to level up your First Order, you may not be able to really gear BB-8 out once you do get him, or at least max him out once you get him. Now, in this particular event, we are going to go up against veteran smuggler Han, veteran smuggler Chewbacca, Rey, Finn, and BB-8. Now, it doesn't say whether or not we're going to have Finn, or whether or not we're going to have Poe, or R2-D2, or any of those other characters. But since this is really replaying the Battle of Takodana, which I'm kind of excited about, I'm curious to see how it plays out, because I would be shocked to see if we saw Poe or if we saw R2-D2, because if you've seen episode 7, you know they weren't there at the Battle of Takodana, right? Now, it would be kind of sweet if this was their way of introducing General Organa. That would be pretty sweet, but I doubt it, right? They're gonna give us one thing at a time, right? But with that, there is, you know, we have had a little bit of time to increase our stuff. We have packs and we have bundles. The bundles, I believe, are like $70 for, you know, 80 shards. Hopefully you took advantage of the double drops, but really, $70 for this that's a lot of money. So use, you know, buy at your own discretion. I recommend the bundles over the packs. That 10 to 330 shards to me is just too much of a gamble on those characters. Now, it is interesting that we are both getting First Order and Resistance faction bundles and shards at the same time, so maybe they're going to do something with that. Who knows? Not I, said the duck. But I am interested to see. So that's essentially how the event is going to play out. Now let's take a look at the actual teams that we are going to go up against, and that will kind of help us prepare. Now, if you have played the Resistance team or a Resistance team at all, then you are fully aware that the Resistance team is all about turn meter as well. But one of the things that they do is they throw as much expose as they possibly can on your team, and just drop you and drop your turn meter just as much as they possibly can. Now, I do think that in the lower levels, what we're going to see a lot of, they may throw in a new they may throw in a new character that we'll be fighting against, like they've done with the Ewoks, like they've done with the Empire. We have a few random tunes that we don't have available, but that are just NPCs that we will fight against. And if that's the case, then we don't have that information. But I do think that the two characters that we're going to see the most of is the Resistance Pilot and the Resistance Trooper. Now, the Resistance Trooper throws down Expose with his basic, right? Now, he's not very fast off the bat. He has 134 speed, but he does have a fairly decent potency. Again, basic without mods is something I think we'll be going up against, is at 28%. And that means 1 in 4, a little over 1 in 4 chances, or 1 in 4 of his turns are going to end in an expose. He will expose himself to you or expose you every 4th turn, right? Now, if there's enough of those, you're going to be getting that expose a lot, and so it's going to be important to dispel a lot of that stuff that you'll be getting. His Opportunity Strike, which is his first special, his only special, deals physical damage to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them. They have 50% chance of inflicting speed down. So the key with these guys is that you don't let them attack. You just keep on the offense. So keep that in mind, guys. You are going to be needing a lot of speed on your crew, because you're going to need to outperform these guys. Now, that was the Trooper. This is the Pilot. The Pilot's basic gives turn meter, or at least has a 50% chance to gain turn meter. So it deals 50% damage to deals damage to target enemy with a 55% chance to gain 35% turn meter. This guy's speed is only 120, and I think most of the first order crew is higher than that, but still a very, potent thing, right? If he's going more and more often, it's gonna be devastating for you. So keep in mind that these two characters are going to be frustrating characters to go up against. They do have a fairly decent evasion and a fairly decent critical chance, but again, if you're slowing them down, if you're throwing speed down on them, and you're or just killing them, then you'll be okay, right? So now that we've gone over those, let us look at the man of the hour, and Finn. It is likely that Finn is going to be one of the characters that is our leader, right? Finn is a leader, and his ability may be zated at that very highest level. Resistance allies gain 30% offense and 60% defense, and other allies gain half that amount, right? So Han and Chewie, who are not resistance, gain half that amount. Whenever a resistance ally loses foresight, they gain advantage for 2 turns. And whenever an enemy takes damage from expose, reduce the cooldown of all resistance allies by 1 and grant them 35% turn meter. Now, one of the cool things, one of the benefits of us in this event is there aren't any characters that we will be going up against, except for BB-8, that have an AoE attack. And so because they don't have an AoE attack, then if your characters are exposed, what they're going to be doing is they're only going to be taking damage 1 at a time, right? So you're not going to be receiving a ton or like all of those abilities aren't going to be reduced that often because no AoE, right? Now, moving on, we will look at Rey. Rey, again, is one of those characters who is going to just do some serious damage. But Rey is kind of a glass cannon. She does have a higher speed than most. She is at 164, but when she hits, she is going to hit like a dump truck. Especially if and when she is at those higher tiers. I believe they are all zated. I don't remember if that's accurate, but you should prepare just in case as if they are. So it says, as long as she has no debuffs, Rey has plus 25% offense and inflicts daze for 2 turns whenever she uses a special ability. This effect can't be resisted. So what that means is you better have debuffs on Rey as often as you possibly can, because plus 25% offense on that Furious Blow is going to furiously blow. Sorry, Flurry of Blows. But it's going to furiously blow, because that is going to, well, it's going to suck. And it's going to do some really serious damage. Because keep in mind, the First Order TIE Fighter pilot or TIE pilot is a glass cannon himself. Or herself, we don't necessarily know. But that's definitely one of those things that we need to keep in mind, right? So, now again, moving on to Veteran Smuggler, Chewie, and Han. These guys are going to be throwing down Daze and Stagger, respectively. They have a 50% health steal. They have a plus 25% critical chance. They will take immediate turns when the other dies. So if Chewbacca dies, Han will take a turn and then take another turn. When Han dies, Chewbacca will take a turn and then another turn. It is going to be ridiculous. What I would do is around tier 4 or 5, whenever they're actually introduced, that you'll be fighting against them, or if they're introduced earlier in a phase, what I would do is I would see how your team stacks up against them. If you can take them out early, take them out early. If you can't, I would take everyone else out and then leave those two for last. As long as you have enough stamina and strength to take them out that second time, then great. That's what I would do. So, but again, Veteran Han and Veteran Chewie, his speed is not great, which is actually a benefit for him, because he has at the start his Let the Wookiee Win. At the start of each enemy turn, Chewbacca gains 12% offense stacking until he uses 2 abilities. Okay, so imagine that 2 abilities. If you have speed up, that's 12% and 12%. Especially if your crew is fast, then you will want to take him out, because that's going to keep growing and it's going to become a beast, right? Han, he has a similar thing. So Swindle, when an enemy gains a buff, he gains 25% counter chance, stacking until the end of his next turn. So if all 5 of your crew, get a buff, then all of a sudden Han is going to counter, right? When Han gains a debuff, he gains 50% defense until the end of his next turn. When Han gains any status effect, he gains 50% armor stacking until the end of his next turn. So Han becomes this like weird tank attacker. So it says here on his thing, it says scoundrel attacker with multi-attack and multiple devastating debuffs. Now, I personally haven't used Han or Veteran Chewie since I unlocked them whenever they launch, but I really think that a Gear 12, level 8, Gear 85, 7-star Han, Chewie, BB-8, I think it's going to be a really devastating team. So keep that in mind. Be prepared for that. And Han, you may want to throw out first. I would probably gameplay. I'd play it a little bit, but I would mark which one and how your teams did against them, and then just rearrange your strategy. So now, finally, looking at the little ball, he is. Oh, I'm excited to see BB-8 in play. Now, his speed is 162. He's going to be super fast. He deals tenacity down. He grants other random allies this thing called secret intel, and it is super. It's 25% potency when another ally uses a special ability, and then other persons gain secret intel, and it just keeps snowballing, right? Illuminated Destiny. Now, this is a 70-turn cooldown. What I'm actually most excited about this event is to see how effective or how fast that cooldown actually goes down. And it dispels all debuff on allies and expose all enemies for 2 turns. Right, in and of itself, not... I mean, it's nice. It's a cleansing move, but, 70 turns. All allies then gain 80% turn meter, advantage, critical chance up, critical damage up, offense up, and speed up for 4 turns. Droid and resistance allies, we probably won't see any droid allies, but resistance allies recover 20% protection. This ability starts on cooldown and can't be evaded. This is going to suck. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take BB-8 out. That little sucker needs to go down. Because, that's... If he gets that Illuminating Destiny to actually use it, you better have killed off everyone else. Because that is going to just devastate your team. But I am curious to see how fast it actually procs. So, other than that, he has an 80% chance, counter chance. When he attacks out of turn, he calls a random resistance ally to assist. Okay, so that does exclude Han and Chewie, but Rey and Finn and all the others, just be wary of that. So, and then, his final one is self-preservation. When BB-8 takes damage, he has 50% chance to gain Foresight for 2 turns at the start of each encounter. If BB-8 is active, droid allies gain 8% turn meter for each active droid ally. So that's, when BB-8, that doesn't really matter for this because I really don't think we'll be seeing any droids. I think this is mostly, if we're just going off of what we get from this, then we will only be going up against Smuggler Han, Chewbacca, Rey, Finn, and BB-8. Now, that doesn't make any sense. I think that we will be going up against the Trooper and the Pilot, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Not very long, though. It does come out in a day or two, and then we'll have all the information that we want. Now, moving on to the actual First Order, I kind of want to just really run through this briefly, because the name of the game, like I said, is turn meter gain and advantage. Now, you want advantage as often as you possibly can. Phasma obviously will be your lead. So with Phasma's ability, Fire at Will, if you have it zated, then you know that it's awesome. They have a chance to call a random ally, a 20% chance. It is tripled if the attacking ally is First Order. If it's not zated, it is only doubled, but still 40% chance that you are attacking and someone else is also attacking. So that's pretty sweet. Unfortunately, if it's not zated, it will deal 15% less damage. The chance is that if they had advantage, they will also regain it for 2 turns. Now, you're going to want to have Phasma. Her base speed's 121. You're going to want to throw as much speed on Phasma as you possibly can, because the first thing that you want to do is Fuselage, in my mind. You're going to deal physical damage to all enemies with a 90% chance to inflict speed down. You throw that speed down, then your other people get to go, right? After they've gone once, you do allies or victory march, which gains all allies gain 50% turn meter and advantage for 2 turns, right? So again, you're throwing that advantage on. There's a chance that they're going to be attacking and coming back over and over and over again. Now, First Order Officer, Capitalize deals physical damage. This is his basic to target enemy. This attack has a 20% critical chance or critical damage if any ally has advantage, and by this point you should all have advantage. This attack is a guaranteed critical hit. So in my mind, take it on someone who's gonna go out first, right? Take it on someone who you can knock out of the match, knock out of the phase first, and then move on. Now, marching orders, target another ally, 100% turn meter and advantage for 2 turns if that ally is First Order. They also gain offense up, dispel all debuffs from First Order Officer and target ally, and grant them both tenacity up for 2 turns. Now, in my mind, what I would be doing is throwing this on either Kylo Ren, or I would be throwing it on First Order TIE Pilot. He is a great character. Now, pinning shot, physical damage to target enemy, and remove 50% turn meter. If any turn meter is removed that way, each ally gains 15% turn meter. All ally first order allies have their cooldowns reduced by 1. Now, what's interesting about this is his potency is already at 43%. The name of the game, like I said, is speed. With these characters, you want your troops to go first and often. He has 145 speed. If you could get his speed up, maybe throw a couple of extra potency mods on him. But if you get his speed up, it's going to be important. Moving on, First Order Stormtrooper. Hindering shot deals physical damage to target enemy with a 50% chance to inflict speed down for 1 turn. This chance is increased to 100% on a critical hit. First Order Stormtrooper has advantage. Dispel all buffs from that target. Now that's going to be something that you're going to want to do, and you're going to want to do often. It is a very good ability, or a very good thing to dispel all the buffs, right? I would especially do this on Finn or Rey, and if you can, take out those tweensy little no-name NPCs first, right? The trooper and the pilot. In my mind, that's a good use to get rid of those guys, right? His taunt, all allies gain 25% turn meter and defense up for 4 turns. First Order Stormtrooper dispels all debuffs from himself, then gains advantage and taunt for 2 turns. And then finally, Return Fire. First Order Stormtrooper has 65% counter chance. Whenever First Order Stormtrooper uses an ability, he has a 50% chance to call a random ally to assist. That's on top of his 40%, dealing 50% damage unless they are First Order. Then, if it was a First Order ally, grant them advantage for 2 turns. Now, that again is the Omega ability. If he is not Omega'd and he's just rank 7, which is, I'm sorry, that's the Zeta ability. If he's not Omega'd, First Order Stormtrooper has a 65% counter chance. All that other stuff goes away, unfortunately, without the Zeta. But I still wouldn't put a Zeta on him right off the bat because I don't think you're going to need it. I would put him at probably 8, Gear 8, maybe Gear 9 if you can get him there. But I think that will probably Gear 8 with some really solid mods and a few other Gear 9, Gear 10 characters, I think should put you able to unlock BB-8, right? It may be that final tier might be difficult, but I still think it's possible. So, next on the list is First Order TIE Pilot. Double tap, which is awesome. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 50% chance to attack again. This chance is doubled if First Order TIE Pilot has advantage. You will get a 100% chance almost every single time to attack twice. You are just going to want speed and critical damage on this character. If he's going to attack twice, you want that to be that second attack to score a crit, right? Because if the second attack scores a crit, gain advantage for 2 turns, right? So you keep up that constant advantage. Deal physical damage, his gun down, deal physical damage to target enemy, and inflict offense down for 2 turns on a critical hit. If First Order TIE Pilot has advantage, also inflict buff immunity and health down for 2 turns. You are going to want to have him target Chewbacca as often as you possibly can, because that beast is going to take a pounding, and he's gonna be a hard guy to take down. So then Keen Eye, First Order TIE Pilot has a 30% chance and 30% critical damage, and gains advantage for 3 turns whenever any enemy falls below full health. First Order TIE Pilot has a 70% chance to gain Foresight for 2 turns when he loses advantage. So make sure that he has advantage, and then if it gets taken away, instant Foresight, instant, shields, right? Now, again, speed and critical damage are the 2 things that you want on this guy, because you want him to hit, you want him to hit hard, and you want him to hit often. Now, finishing up is Kylo Ren, and I will suggest that if you don't have Kylo Ren's Zeta ability, he is a character that you should look into. I like him. I use him currently in my arena team, and I do pretty well with him. His Ragged Cut deals physical damage to any enemy with a 75% Ragged Cut deals physical damage to a target enemy with a 75% chance to inflict healing immunity for 2 turns, and 75% chance to inflict damage over time. That is going to be nice, right? You're throwing that out there, and it's just going to continually lower their ability to heal themselves. Deal physical damage to all enemies and gain retribution for 2 turns. First order allies with advantage gain 25% turn meter. So if your troop is close to getting that turn meter, this is a good opportunity to give them a quarter of their bar full, right? And then Outrage, which is the Zeta ability, deal physical damage to target enemy, and if Kylo Ren has full health, inflicts stun for 1 turn. This attack deals 75% more damage if Kylo Ren is below full health, right? Now, you recover protection equal to damage dealt, and his next ability is going to talk about how you're able to keep him just below full health, but with recovered protection, right? So damage dealing is going to be something that you're going to want to do for him, and you're going to want him to attack, and again, attack often. And finally, Unstoppable. Kylo Ren takes damage. Whenever he takes damage, he gains 50% defense and 15% offense for 1 turn, and has a 50% chance to reset his cooldowns. That means if every other turn, it is likely that Outrage will be set or is available. Lash Out is going to be available. And so every other turn, he's going to be able to either give turn meter or deal 75% more damage to the people that he's fighting against. That is a powerful, powerful attack, right? Outrage with that opportunity, if you're doing it that often, is just a great thing. Let's see. Kylo Ren takes reduced damage from percent health damage effects and gains 10% speed for each debuff on him, right? And so, or 10 speed, not 10%, 10 speed for each debuff on him. When Kylo uses a special ability, he gains damage over time for 2 turns, right? So if people are throwing debuffs on him, right, just be careful with him, because you don't want to have so many debuffs on him that he becomes super vulnerable, right? But at speed 128, if you could get him close to 200, that would be awesome, because then every debuff you have on him, we're just going to give him that much more, right? Just going to make him that much faster, attack that much harder, and it's going to be a very, very powerful thing. Now, like I said, with this crew, with the First Order, you're going to want to make sure that you have speed mods on just about everyone. The First Order tank, the First Order Stormtrooper may be the only one you don't want to put speed mods on, but you definitely want to have him have protection and health, and quite possibly anything that could give them armor or tenacity. His tenacity is at 47%, but if he can resist more and more, then all the better. But what I would do is I would take out when this event goes live, what I would do is I would take out the pilot and the trooper if they are available. If it is just those, big names that we know, I would probably start with either BB-8 or Han. Once I've done that, then I would move to, I would just slowly start working them around, right? If and when you do not beat a tier, you can replay it as often as you want during a legacy event, as long as you don't defeat it. Once you defeat it, that becomes, moot. You won't need to. But go in, test the waters, see how your players are going to do against the First Order, or do against the Resistance crew, and rework your strategy, right? Maybe move some mods around. Maybe sell some mods and raise some characters up if you have to. But don't rush into it willy-nilly. Don't get mad if you don't beat it the first time, because we all have that. We all get to a point where, unless you're a super whale, then you're gonna have issues because you don't have the best mods and you don't have everyone geared up. Now, What do you think about the First Order? Are you excited for BB-8? Do you think you're going to be able to unlock him at 7-star? I'm going to stay up that night, and I'll probably just do a live stream of the event and play it, and we'll talk about it together. But leave a comment in the section below, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know how far you think you're going to get if you are planning on really going gung-ho and trying to get BB-8. I'm curious because I think he's going to be very beneficial. I don't want him for a Resistance team, although he's going to be great on a Resistance team. I want to see what he can do on a droid team, because I've got some solid droids, and I've loved my droid team, and I want to be able to just use those guys to take down the heroic tank in Phase 2 and 4. And I think BB-8 and R2 are going to help me do that. Now, leave a comment, like I said, and like and subscribe. As always, this has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. Stay nerdy, my friends.